Hey riders, welcome to another video in our adventure motorcycle gear review series. I'm Eric Lang with Ride Adventures, and I've been riding and guiding motorcycle trips around the world on a bunch of different adventure bike tires over the past decade. And so in this video, I'm going to show you the differences between the Motoz Tractionator GPS and the Heidenau K60 Scout, and I really think I can help you decide which is the best adventure bike tire for you. Let's get in the carriage. So a quick background from my perspective is that we've been using the Heidenau K60 Scout for over 10 years now, from here in North America all the way down through Patagonia and Tierra del Fuego. In South America, our customers have literally millions of miles on the Heidenau K60 Scout. We are very pleased with its performance. Zero failures or manufacturer defects that I am aware of at this point, and the customers are reporting good things and good results out of that tire. I like it too. The Motoz Tractionator GPS is a tire we only started using about a year ago, and it is newer in the marketplace for adventure bike tires. So far, very good results. Again, using it between North America here and all the way down to Baja, Mexico. Haven't used them in South America yet, but generally speaking, we're seeing great things out of this tire. So I'm going to talk through these tires in the categories of tread design, composition, and the carcass that they're made out of, longevity and durability, performance, and of course, overall value to you. So talking about tread design for these tires, I should explain first that we just happen to only have a 17-inch Heidenau in stock at this point. This is the 18 in the Motoz. Both are 150 wide, so there are slight subtle differences between the tread patterns on the 17 and the 18-inch, but they're ultimately the same sort of characteristic. And the tread design for both of these, you can see, is meant for multiple terrains of a variety of surfaces. You've got a lot of contact with pavement and such at the top of these lugs, so you can be comfortable on pavement, but then you've also got a lot of space in between the lugs for when you're going to hit off-road situations with gravel and dirt and a variety of materials that you need to grip on and rip through. So both tires, you'll see, have this continuous center strip running right down the middle, and that's a great feature for a tire to have in terms of longevity, right? By having that continuous strip down the middle, you're not contacting the surface below you with a fresh lug edge every single time the tire is turning around. Instead, you've got continuous rubber like that. It's going to reduce vibrations and therefore noise, make it a little bit more comfortable to ride. And as I said, it's ultimately going to make a tire last a little bit longer by having that continuous rubber strip. One thing the Motoz has that the Heidenau does not have, and despite both of these kind of being considered a 50-50 on and off-road tire, the Motoz has the ability to be turned around. So you can actually turn this around, mount it in the opposite direction, and then it would be considered mostly off-road in that position, maybe an 80% dirt and 20% pavement tire. So definitely a strong point there to have two options. For that reason, I'm going to say that in terms of tread design, if I had to pick a winner between the two, the Motoz is the winner because it gives you those options to be kind of 50-50 in one direction, or maybe 80-20 if you flip it and go around the other way. Next, let's talk about the composition of these tires and how the carcass feels. So you can walk through your local motorcycle shop and touch them in person, or you can look at measurements people are taking online with a durometer to determine exactly how hard the rubber is. In either situation, you're going to find both of these tires to be on the harder end of the spectrum of possible rubber compounds out there. So both companies claim to use a lot of natural rubber, which sounds good. Of course, nobody actually reveals their actual formula. But again, compared to some others out on the market, these are definitely on the harder end of things, which adds to the overall durability and longevity of the tires themselves. Of course, there's a lot of factors that go into that, but they are sort of longer lasting tires compared to, say, a Continental TKC80 or some others that are much softer and wear down quicker. Because they are a harder type of rubber compound, it allows you to actually run a slightly lower tire pressure than you might in some other tires. Of course, that kind of balances out because with a stiffer carcass, a stiffer tire, running a lower pressure still feels kind of like the same thing as a softer tire with higher pressures. So another thing these stiffer carcasses allow for is the ability to run while being flat. So it doesn't happen often, but sometimes we'll see a rider who has actually lost all tire pressure due to a puncture or whatever it is, and they don't realize with tires like this that they've actually lost full pressure. So that's sounds like a dangerous thing, but hey, it's the reality. Sometimes people don't notice right away, and I myself would rather have a tire still maintain its overall shape and form, especially in the front, instead of going completely flat and falling off to one side of the rim, keeping a little bit of stiffness and not creating that dangerous situation where all of a sudden the tire lops off to one side or the other. I'd rather have that. That run flat situation is a little bit of a safety factor that I like about stiffer tires like this. Of course, having these stiffer carcasses also means you should really make sure you have a third tire iron with you, possibly a second set of hands if you have someone to ride with, because working on getting a tire like this on and off the rim with such a stiff carcass, definitely a factor to consider. The winner in this category, I'm actually going to give Heidenau the nod, because they offer in a few different sizes, a few popular sizes, what they call a cold compound. So it's going to be a slightly softer compound to combat colder temperatures where traction becomes more of an issue. Now that doesn't mean you need to only ride their cold compound options in cold temperatures. It also means that if you're willing to put up with less overall mileage and longevity that you're going to get out of the tire, that you can get a slightly stickier, softer compound in the Heidenau than, for example, this one, which is their regular compound. So given the nod to Heidenau simply because there are compound options in this tire. Then, of course, there's the topic of longevity and durability. What can you expect to get out of these tires? Well, starting with the sidewalls, you got a 4-ply nylon sidewall on the Motoz, a 4-ply polyester on the Heidenau. In neither tire have I seen a failure in millions of miles and steady testing the past year. Neither sidewall has ever been a failure. They seem to hold up very well, like the durable nature of each of them are built for. We have seen sidewall failures on other tires. I think we can show you some footage of that. But then about the tread pattern. Well, how long is that going to last? We're measuring about a 1/16 of an inch deeper tread pattern on the Motoz to begin with than we are with the Heidenau. So you could probably say right there that that tread pattern might last a little bit longer, being a little bit deeper to begin with. There's also to consider that the Heidenau comes with this slightly more arced or rounded shape to it, and this is true whether it's on the 17-inch or the 18-inch model. Slightly more arced and sharp of a turn, I guess you could say, to that tread pattern than the broader, wider, flatter appearing Motoz. What does that mean? Well, it certainly is a factor in the way that the tire is going to handle for you. You could think that if you're flipping back and forth between twisties, you could say that the Heidenau is going to want to flip back and forth a little bit more easily than the broader, wider feeling Motoz is. How is that going to turn out in terms of duration and how long each one lasts? Well, let's think about that. The slightly more narrow or sharper arc to the Heidenau means you're riding on maybe a more narrow strip in the middle, and that might be why some people are reporting that the Heidenau just flatten out too quickly for them. They don't like that idea of having to go from kind of a flat spot in the middle to the transitioning to the lugs on the side. That transition can be a little weird for some people. And so again, the slightly wider, broader Motoz is maybe allowing that flattening to not happen so quickly. And we have seen that in the past year of testing. They do seem to maintain their arc a little bit longer than the Heidenau's do. And then for the overall duration and how long these are going to last, well, again, that's going to be up to you. Riders are reporting anywhere from 4,000 to 13,000 miles. We've seen on either tire, we've seen the same thing as well. Really all depends on who's riding it, how they're riding it, how much throttle, how much brake, temperature, terrain. All these different factors go into what you're going to get out of a tire, how many turns versus how much straight riding you're going to do. A lot of different factors, so it is really hard to tell you which one's going to last longer for you. Ultimately, I'm giving both of these tires a tie. And then the very important topic of performance. Which one performs better? Well, scour the internet and you'll see trash talk about both tires, right? For years you've been seeing people complain about the Heidenau's. They're horrible in the rain and the snow and the mud and things like that. And some folks are calling the Heidenau dangerous. Really? Our customers have millions of miles around the world in every condition possible. They're not using the word dangerous to describe a tire that has gotten them this far. So let's keep it real. I'm asking you which tire is really great in any of those situations. Yes, softer compounds than these tires will typically always be better in mud and slick conditions and things like that. So instead of exaggerating so much and some of you calling this a dangerous tire in those conditions, let's face the facts that when you have a durable, long-lasting, aggressive tread pattern like this, it's not going to be the best tire for you in slick, mud, snow, ice type situations like that. You just have to face the facts. So both of them have that excellent multi-terrain aggressive tread pattern, good for a lot of different types of riding, Both of them have performed very well for us. We've actually had people say they think the Heidenau is brilliant in the rain and the cold and things like that. They've enjoyed how sticky it is. We've seen the same out of this tire as well. The Motoz is holding up very well. We as riders just need to learn to back off a little bit and keep in mind that no tire is going to be as good in the rain and the slick as it is in dry and sticky and hot conditions. So the end result is, for the performance category, I'm saying again, this is a tie. It's going to be up to you and how you ride it and what you expect out of it, given the conditions that you're riding in. So we've seen each tire win a category, and there have been 2 ties, which brings us to the final topic of value. Well, if you check the prices online, at least in the US market today, I think you'll find that the Heidenau is about 15% less expensive than the Motoz. It's 15%. That's another tank of gas. It's more ability to travel. Also, you might appreciate that slightly more arced shape to its tread pattern like that. Going to be a little more nimble and agile in the twisties than the broader, flatter Motoz. So if that's something for you, great. For the Motoz, remember I said it's got that reversible rear tire. The front always goes in one direction. But maybe you find it valuable to be able to pick and know that you're going to be mostly off-road, so you can set the tire in that position, or have the option to flip back to the 50-50, the more pavement-worthy of the 2 positions. To me, that 15% is negligible, and I really don't care whether it's more arced or flatter or whatever than this tire. It's a great performing tire that has kept our customers happy and done very well for us. I myself am never going to get with this Motoz to the trailhead and pull out the tire irons and start making switches. And honestly, I mostly ride about 50-50 types of terrain anyway. So one position with the rear tire for me is fine. And I'm going to stick with that. And that ability to switch between the 2 is not that important to me. So the end result for me is an even tie between the 2. If either of those is important to you, that will help you decide which is the better value to you. But again, our customers and myself, we've been riding lots with both of these tires. They're both excellent performing tires, very durable and long lasting, and they've been an absolute great addition to our adventure riding fleet. So my question for you is, which of these tires have you been using, or which are you going with and why? And also in the comments below, let us know what bike you've been riding them on and what tire pressures you've been using. Let's help the ADV riding community make the best decision for their riding. So we're going to do our best to keep current links in the description below so you can check pricing and buy these tires if you wish. We've noticed and appreciate those of you who are using those links to do the motorcycle shopping that you're going to do anyway. Doing so goes to support the channel and what we're doing here, and we appreciate that very much. So thanks for watching, everyone. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit the notifications button so you don't miss future videos. We appreciate you being on board with us. Ride on, everyone. We'll see you out there. And I will be happy to ride either one of these anytime.
All right, now just do that better.
Fuck. Oh, shit.